Good morning. This is 1 in 36, a presentation from Anderson Center for Autism, celebrating their centennial in 2024. 1 in 36 is a weekly show devoted to autism spectrum disorder.
Good morning and welcome to 1 in 36, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, Chief Development Officer at Anderson Center for Autism. And today I am speaking with Adella Lin-Kravitz, who is the Executive Director of Project Ready, and Feng, who is the co-founder of Project Ready. And the reason that these folks from Project Ready are on the show today is because they are among the first group of deserving organizations who have been awarded a grant from Anderson Foundation for Autism. And we're here to talk about what Project Ready is all about, the impact that you're having, the impact that you look forward to having in the future, and also to obviously touch on how this grant that you recently received from Anderson is going to help you reach the goals that you've set for yourself. So I want to welcome you both, and I'm just going to start by asking you each, and we'll start with you, Adella, maybe just to tell us a little bit about yourselves, your background as a professional and as a person, and kind of help us understand what led you to Project Ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Adella Lin-Kravitz. I'm the co-founder and executive director of Project Ready. First of all, I'm a mother of a 18-year-old son with autism. And I have been on this journey for 16 years. So a lot of growth and a lot of struggling coming along these years. And then the last 3 years, we have put together and co-funded this organization, Project Ready, to focus on quite a few things, because we have many unmet needs in our community. Mm-hmm. So first of all, Project Ready is primarily focusing on so-called big kids. They are 13 and plus, because at this age, all the children's family has gone through many years of raising special needs children, and they are in this school system, but they are facing the transition from adolescence to adulthood. So, and then in this age group, there are a lot of unmet needs. The second focus for us is we're mostly the Asian American community, and with a lot of families having the language barrier, mm-hmm. and the culture barrier, and even the social economic barrier. So we definitely have a lot of needs that's unmet. That's the second focus what we have, and because of that focus, that we wanted to put together those needs, and having our group to have our voice heard. So that needs to that basically leads to the last focus of our group is advocacy and self-advocacy. Mm-hmm. So in a large shell, that was the genesis of Project Ready. And then a couple of months ago, we have heard that there's opportunity from Anderson Foundation. Actually, it's one of the families from the Briarcliff School District. They have a great respect to the Anderson Center, and then they have repeatedly brought it up to one of Project Ready family that to encourage the family to go visit Anderson Center. That's how the family basically brought this to us, and we of course we wanted to know a lot more about you and what you could offer. So it came to our attention that you have a grand opening up opportunity. So we just decided to bring up one of our project over to you. Thank you so much for supporting us. It's a great honor to be one of the first community-based organizations that you were able to support.
Well, thank you for that that summary, Adella. I really appreciate it. And the feeling is mutual. For those that may not have heard, Anderson Foundation for Autism is able to provide a small number of grants on an annual basis now that we started just this year. To community organizations. And the really biggest criteria is that the community organization, other than having to be a nonprofit organization, has to align with our mission to optimize the quality of life for individuals with autism. And that came through loud and clear when we read your application. And I'm going to come back to that maybe in the second half of our interview today about the specifics of what this particular program is going to be and how you think that aligns with that mission. But I want to give Ben some time here to also tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. You are the co-founder of Project Ready, and I think that you have much that you'd like to share about your involvement and your hope, I guess, your goals for the future.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Feng. I'm a father of a 24 young adult. He's Vincent. He's on the autism spectrum, ADHD. So I also am a long time for the Chinese community, family with autism for more than 20 years. But I never feel so desperate and so challenged when I help my son here in New York City going through the transition, try to find out the service, try to find a vocational training, find a job, try to keep the job. I never so desperate. Look, I have a good education here. I'm a computer engineering until now, more than 25 years. I speak pretty good English. I'm very dedicated father. I'm engaged in lots of activity, including the New York State Council for the Development of Disability. But when I feel the challenge, my son out of school, that is a barrier. The challenge is confusing, is the desperation is making me so furious. I said, this is not right. Look, if somebody like me, Anselms feels so many challenge, right? What about other family members does not have time to go around, does not have English level, does not have a connection? I have it. So we can see in our community, just Adella said, mostly in the Chinese immigrant community, many of the parents do not speak much English or limited there. What about him? Then I looking around, they have a huge gap.
Yeah.
Parents basically just being ignored, being cut off, being isolated, all the service when their children grow up going to school. It's a big gap. So that's where Adella. So my son is 24. I'm already in the transgender. Her son is 17. He's on the way. Said, let's do something. We can using our knowledge, our experience, show how the other parents with not much English proficiency there. We can show them, okay, hands by hand. We can parent to parent, father to father, mother to mother. We can show them, right?
Yeah.
So that's what started, that's all one. So, that Adela explained very well. The thing is here, we come here is that the family, we have lots of family did not get the deserved service or accessibility or everything. They are struggling. Their voice probably lots of agency, government, they do not hear that. It's our job, it's our duty to help them. Because New York State is a state of immigrant, right? All different background, language, not everything. Not only Chinese, lots of other ones. We face the same issue. If we can't help ourselves, we cannot help other people. So I'm on some long fan with Edison because I'm a subscribed Edison. Lots of seminar, at the early age when I tried learning autism, Edison is one of the local one, not local in New York City, but I have online newsprint. I'm really appreciate Edison can help us. Really proud of that. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. And thank you both for sharing that, your background, your personal stories. I find, because I host this podcast mostly, but in other cases too, meeting so many families who identify sort of looking back from when their children were young. And I think, Adella, you put this really clearly and accurately, that there's a sense of sort of protection and structure that comes with a school setting for children. And then there's what you just described, Ben, is more like what I hear people say is the cliff. You sort of fall off this cliff at adult services, where all of a sudden there's kind of this unspoken and unplanned for thought that suddenly you know what to do after that. But if you don't have a way to plan ahead, to see where there's also different types of organizations, there's different funding structures, there's different programs, there's not as many. And everybody is not going to school at the same time and coming back at the same time every day. So your lives are getting, turned upside down as well as caregivers and parents. There's so much. And then add to it the other pieces that you both clearly defined in terms of your community with the language barrier, socioeconomic. I think, Adella, you also had mentioned at one point that there's a bit of, I think that you both have told me that you wanted to model for other families in the Asian American community that it's okay to talk about, it's okay to support your autistic child or loved one very publicly and to advocate on their behalf. And so I know that we're going to jump into this in a minute when we come back from our break, but I'm really excited to hear you both talk about these this additional project and some of the things for our listeners that can get a sense of what happens with Project Ready, what happens when a family reaches out and said, I want to be a part of Project Ready. What can they expect that will help them? So we're going to cover all that in the second half of the show. So we're going to take a short break. This is Eliza Bozensky with 1 in 36, the podcast on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. And we'll be right back.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy. You know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year. At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local I can send you with a link.
Okay.
Smart.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Somewhere, there's a river rushing through the woods while someone rushes through their day. There's a mountain looking up at the sky while someone looks down at their phone. A trail waiting to be walked while someone waits for a latte. This world is full of somewheres waiting for someone just like you. So go see yours at 154 national forests and 20 grasslands. And to learn more, visit nationalforest.org. The National Forest Foundation. See your somewhere.
And now, 1 in 36 continues on 100.7 WHUD. This is a weekly community affairs program presented by the Anderson Center for Autism.
Welcome back to 1 in 36, the weekly podcast on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky from Anderson Center for Autism. And with me are Adella Lin-Kravitz from Project Ready and Feng from Project Ready, who've told us both thank you for telling us about yourselves and your background. You're both parents. I would say probably parents first and foremost, which has sort of led you down or up this path. I would say it seems to be going in a positive direction in terms of Project Ready and what you're accomplishing. Can you give us an idea of just what happens at Project Ready events? Are these art events? Are they social events? Are you doing things for parents, siblings? I know it's mostly what you said before, big kids, so those kids at sort of transitional age, high school, and maybe a little older. Give us some examples of some of the things that are already happening at Project Ready.
Yes, sure. We have several ongoing project. We can break them down into different categories, but basically, one of the focus of what we're trying to do is to build a very tight bond community, and because first of all, we're very special. We're focused on big kids, and most Asian American and mostly the immigrant background. A lot of families with, language, culture, and the social-economical barrier. So we have, there's a lot of intersectionality, and this is a marginalized group. And we need each other's support. So one of the things that's always constantly going is the parent support. It's I know a lot of our organizations has a parent support, but we're like grassroots and accessible all the time. We do have a deep trust of many community members, and then when things happens, when they feel like they are really frustrated, has hopeless, and they came to us. So I think this is actually a very big, one of the biggest pillars of our community-based organization. So revolving around that, we have a project like seminars, talks, and based on the topics that we are interested in, resource sharing. We also have out and about. It's more of like families gathering together and go for an outing. It looks like, it's a very casual event, but it's a bonding time.
Right.
And so we have that. We have also the culture-based, and also advocacy-based occasions. Like, for example, the Able Bloom that we're going to have in 2 weeks.
Yes, coming up very soon.
Yeah, November 23rd. I'm probably missing a lot of other things.
It's okay. I think, you don't have to cover everything. Let's make sure we get the website out. What is your website so people can take a look themselves also?
It's projectready.org.
projectready.org.
Right.
So we'll make sure that goes out when we post this as well. But that's where you can find a lot of information. Able Bloom, to me, I went on your website. It looks like a beautiful, sort of really touching and meaningful event that involves, I think, art and music and family connectivity, right? And it's sort of like a showcase of things that some of the children, the big kids who are involved have made and are working on. It looks like also it's a chance for families to come and to support. And so I am hoping to be there on behalf of Anderson this year, and just really excited that you have an opportunity to showcase that. What are some of your future goals with Project Ready? Is there something specific that you're looking to do next that you're hoping, we want to get the word out, or is it an expansion of just sort of what you're already doing?
Maybe I can, I can give you a quick answer, and then Ben also
Sure.
has a lot of thoughts on this. So one of the things, we never forget the where that Project Ready came from, and then we funded this project organization because we wanted to focus on transition and the future of our kids, right? And then so that's still what we're going to be focusing on, and the transition. There's so many different topics. As you mentioned before, we don't want the parents to run into a cliff, and then we wanted them to have a lot of the things in place, guardianship, SSI, and we have self-direction, all the support we could possibly get from OPWDD. And then we also try to create it as much as the vocational training opportunities and the employment opportunities. The other part that the Project Ready is focusing on is advocacy, and Ben has also, a long history of being a very active advocate. Me, myself, and I'm a member of OPWDD, Developmental Disability Advisory Council member.
Yes.
I'm a member of Employment and Meaningful Activities Council. So we try to bubble up, elevated our voice and initiative in the public. And at the same time, we're trying to encourage, encourage, also train the advocates from our community. This include our family member as well as the self-advocates. So we actually have a group just attended the SANUS self-advocacy, statewide self-advocacies. And that was the first time that the Asian Americans has attended this meeting. So it was very, very inspiring and meaningful.
Congratulations. That is a big step. That's great. Ben, we have about 4 minutes left in our interview. Can you add to that in terms of the advocacy work or anything else that you want to put forward?
Yeah, so I'm too quickly because Adella covered most of them. So, for example, when we tried to start in Project Ready, that time we only think about, maybe we can provide more job opportunity, worker training. But later on, we find out it should be more than that, okay? Because they have the whole life, okay? The life is not just to find a job, kind of vocational training, find a day program. They should have their value. Okay, this is hard. For example, we just finished this year the first time we encourage them to register and vote for the first time of their life.
Okay.
This year we have 16 young people at the first time register and vote. We're very proud. In that apple balloon, we will have a ceremony to applaud for them, let them stand on stage, let all them show how proud they are because the voting rights is their own right? It's not easy for the immigrant family coming from different country. For example, I came from China. If you want to vote, you will go to jail because that's dangerous, right?
Right.
So people not, it's different background, have a different idea. But our children here deserve the life they should be here. Like New York, like America. They have a to vote. No matter what is your level of disability, it doesn't matter. The law gives you the rights. So you can see how proud they are. When the parents show the picture, when the folks, you can see, you never saw those proud moments, the very few time from their life. So that's the right thing we did. Okay, we of course continue that. We help them to build up self-advocacy there. But this is in the future. Our community, a very close community, should be a home for those people. So the young people with developed disability can grow up together. They can encourage themselves together, each other. They can help each other. They can become a valuable member of the society. Okay, as I believe everybody in the family have this dream, and this is our dream. Okay, so even is an immigrant family, our children with disability, but they can have their full life here. We are very optimistic, But thank you very much, everybody help us.
I love what you both just said, and you helped to answer the question that I put out in the beginning of the interview, which is how does your organization align with the mission that Anderson has to optimize the quality of life for individuals with autism? And not only did you answer it, but you kind of got to the point I always get to with that mission, which is that when you're involved in fulfilling that mission, which is, optimizing somebody's quality of life is unique to every individual person because everybody measures their own quality of life based on what makes them happy and feel fulfilled. And regardless of one's disability status, everybody is deserving of a quality life. And so many of the things that you just mentioned, both of you, in terms of, for lots of different people, they all touch on different things that bring a sense of quality and a feeling of quality and fulfillment to one's life. And then the other piece that I love is that I always get wrapped up in, and then when you're the person who's advocating for that or caring for that individual or raising them as your child or working with them as a staff person, we also have our lives, our quality of life optimized, because it just feels good when you know that you're doing good work. So I want to thank you. That's a great place to end on. I want to say again to our listeners, check out projectready.org, right? There's a lot of information on that website. The Abel Bloom event is coming up on November 23rd. You can find information about that event on the website. And I encourage people to get to know Project Ready, know what you guys are doing and what's out there, and opportunities to volunteer or learn more are all there. And I want to thank you both for being on the podcast today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. This is 1 in 36, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky. And remember, Anderson cares.
You've been listening to 1 in 36, a weekly presentation from Anderson Center for Autism, celebrating their centennial in 2024. Join them for another edition of the show next weekend.